Hey everybody there in YouTube, it's Brank here again, and I'm bringing you a commentary video on Star Citizen, and is it a scam or not? It's kind of a follow-up to my previous video, which I did on whether Star Citizen was worth it or not. For me it is, not for everybody, obviously, and that's some decision that you're going to have to make on your own, but I'm trying to give you some information to let you go base that decision off of and, see if you want to get into it and if it's something that's going to be, interesting to you. So what I wanted to kind of talk about was a few of the kind of ideas that are out there of people, thinking that Star Citizen is a scam. Right now, there's a lot of people that were concerned over the past month or so since the CitizenCon event, which is a yearly event that they are now putting on, kind of to show new features and to the developers are showing new features of the games and new things that they're working on. And a lot of people were disappointed in this year's CitizenCon, mostly for the reasons that we didn't get to see a working demo of Squadron 42, which is the single player part of Star Citizen, and we didn't get a lot of information that we didn't already have, kind of. So whether it was a matter of an overhype for the event and people thought they were going to see a lot more or get their hands on a lot more, whether it be in the game, which would be version 2.6, or something in the way of a demo for Squadron 42, and we didn't get that. So it did disappoint a lot of people. Then some more controversy happened a few weeks later. It was a few weeks ago now, when they were selling the Super Hornet, which is a version or a variant of the Hornet ship, for a cheaper price than they originally had sold it for, or at least in the most recent sale had sold it for. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know it was about a $20 cash difference. In other words, if you have money in the game, you can, let's say you have a ship that's worth $100, you have $100 pledged in the game to one ship, you can melt that ship and convert that to basically an in-game credit, or not even an in-game credit, but a website credit of $100 that you could then apply towards a ship. Well, that's considered credits in the game. It's not a cash purchase. So these ships, these Mustangs, were only available for people who were buying them fresh, with fresh cash. So the controversy kind of arose because people saw that as, oh, they're out of money. They're hurting for money. They've got to come up with a way to make new money to keep the game going. Well, I don't know if that's totally true. Only the people over at Cloud Imperium can answer that question. But it's really how you kind of want to look at it. It could have been one of two ways, and actually Ben Lesnick, I think, had already kind of debunked the fact that it was because they were out of money. They were just trying something new. The marketing team at CIG is fairly new at marketing. I mean, I wouldn't say they're totally new, but they do have a lot of rough edges, so you could say. And I wouldn't really blame them for trying different, tactics or techniques out. And I don't really consider that a scam. I know why it upsets people, because if I purchased a ship for $150 and next week you start selling it for $140, I'm going to be a little bit ticked off. That's basically $10 or $20 in this case that people kind of lost out on, or lost the value of, in the ships that they pledged for. The one thing to keep in mind throughout any of this is it is a game. You're not really buying something. Obviously, it's not a physical item. So take that with a grain of salt and look at it in the way that, if you can afford it, well beyond the means of affording it, it's okay to go for it. If if you're struggling and you don't have a lot of money, don't pledge into a game that you're going to be putting up your house for mortgage to try to buy some of these ships. So it's all a matter of perspective. Keep that in mind. But so the controversy, basically is still around and people were still upset about it. And there's a lot of older, I would say older backers, but I don't mean age-wise. I mean in terms of how long ago that they started backing the game, that were the most upset about this, because they probably had the most invested in these particular ships, or in any ship really, and felt like that was a bad way to take the game. There is always, in any game development, going to be a time when you kind of scratch your head and go, what the hell were they thinking? Why would they do this? This is totally stupid, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes, that is going to be the case for any game, and I guarantee you, if you're following the development of this game, if you do have a pledge, and even if you don't have a pledge in the game right now, you're going to be going, why the heck would they do this? Well, there's a lot of reasons behind those decisions, and we all have normal lives, and we don't have time to sit through and sift through all of the stuff that CIG does. So who knows? There might have been a reason. Maybe it wasn't a good one. It's very possible it wasn't a good one. It's possible it was a great idea or a great reason behind why they did something. So the way I look at it is, cut them some slack. It's not an easy thing to do. It's just, one of those things that you have to look at and realize that, it's kind of out of your hands. Let it go. That's the way I kind of approached my pledging to this game. Is I follow it fairly often. I look at probably the website at least once or twice a day. I post sometimes in the forums. I look at some of the Reddit posts, external sources, view news links about it, stuff like that. But it all comes down to perspective. If you feel that it's going in the wrong direction, you can always try to ask for a refund. I'm not saying they will give you one. But if you did pledge and you feel like it's not going in the direction you want it to go, absolutely ask them for a refund. What can it hurt? The worst thing they could say would be no. But to get back to the point is, yes, there's controversies around this game. There have been people like Derek Smart and some of the articles that have been written out about Star Citizen that shed some light on maybe they've had some internal problems with the development team. They've had some problems with certain staff, and maybe the articles were written by, upset staff or who knows. The fact is, the game has a lot of backing right now from a lot of players. It will be made, and it won't be, I guarantee you can mark my words on this, it won't be the game that everyone is expecting. It's just like the old saying, right? I guess it was Abraham Lincoln. You could please some of the people some of the time, some of the people all of the time, but you can't please everybody all of the time. It's not possible. There will be plenty of people out there that have a very, very different attitude with the game, with the way the game development is going at certain points, and certain things in the game they're going to hate. So they're going to post about that. They're going to rant and rave about that, just like with everything else. And you got to take, a lot of these facts and factors into account, and, realize that things aren't always going to go, the way that you want them to go. I think that's actually fairly good advice for most games and most things that are out there. But for the most part, I think what you want to keep in mind with any of these controversies is, don't invest too much. I shouldn't say invest, because they get, sometimes people don't like that word, but fund, pledge, whatever you want to call it, don't put in too much money. If you don't have the money, don't put it in, because then you're not going to get upset when things don't go exactly your way. If anybody out there, has any other, suggestions or comments about, how they feel the development of Star Citizen is going, please post them in the comments below. I know in my other video, I got tons of comments, and it's actually really interesting to see what you guys think. And, I try to respond to those, and hopefully we get a little bit of a, rapport and dialogue going on, what we feel, maybe is the better way to go for Star Citizen, or, maybe some things that they can do differently. And why some of these controversies have arisen. My personal feeling is a lot of these controversies arise because it's a game that some people have put a lot of money into. So yeah, when you put a lot of money into something, you want to see it succeed, and you want to see it succeed the way that you want it to succeed, not be developed for somebody else. You want to develop for you. You put in, X amount of dollars. So it's it's an interesting, it's a very interesting social experiment almost that, you know, is kind of happening before us, and it's been happening for the last 4 years now. So I don't know, if nothing else, we get a really interesting experiment out of it. And, you know, hopefully we get a really fun game at the end of it. I still have hopes that this game is going to be really fun and there's going to be a lot of stuff for people to do. And I guarantee you, like I said, it's not going to be for everybody. So anyways, guys, have a good one. I will check you next time. Later.